The other day, I had a gentleman come by my office. We visited for some time, and then he began to talk about his mom and his dad, who have been gone for many years now. But he talked about how much he missed them. He talked about how not a day goes by that he does not think about them, and that he would carry these fond memories of them throughout his life. When I asked him, how old would your parents have been today? He thought for a moment, and then he said they'd both be in their late 90s today. And he told me, he said, you see, they were a part of the greatest generation that ever lived. The greatest generation. This was a term that was coined by Tom Brokaw in his book. And he wrote this about the generation that lived through the Great Depression, the generation that lived through World War II, those born from 1900 through the late 1920s. And this is what he wrote. He said, "It is, I believe, the greatest generation that any society has ever produced." The greatest generation. You see, he wrote this about the men and women that lived in this time period because he said they didn't fight for fame. They didn't fight for recognition. No, they fought because it was the right thing to do. It was the right thing to do. It made me wonder, is what I'm fighting for, is it because it is the right thing to do? Or is it because of some selfish motive? Is it even because of some sinful motive that I am harboring in my life? This morning, I came across this prayer, this quote, and I want to share it. "O merciful God, help us to live always in the realization of the account that we must one day give. Help us always to remember that we will stand before the Almighty God and we will give an account of every action that we have taken, every word that we have spoken, careless or encouraging." Let us today examine our lives. Let us today ask ourselves, is what I'm fighting for, is it because it is the right thing to do? Is it because it is the godly thing to do? Or are there some other motives in the way I'm living my life?